But unfortunately, for me, things went downhill after then. We had a presentation from, I don't know if I pronounce his name right, Dave D'Agostino.
Yep.
Just call him Disco Dave, it's easier.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Disco never dies. He, very nice guy, actually. I've spoken to him before, and he does know his stuff. But I don't know how this happened really, but the presentation, instead of being about proactive problem management from someone who happens to work for ServiceNow, turned into a introduction saying the words problem management and then listing a bunch of features that they said would be important for problem management, and it just so happened that they were in ServiceNow. I'm sure, basically I'm saying people went to a paid ITSMF event and got a sales pitch, and I thought that was a big shame. Now, this isn't a pop at ServiceNow, and this isn't a pop at Disco Dave. My assessment really is, I think what's happened is ServiceNow or Dave were asked to speak and probably realized they didn't really have that much to say about problem management. And as much as they tried to avoid it being into a sales pitch, because they didn't really have anything to say, it just ended up being a sales pitch. There was no strong message. What do you think about that, Pat? Am I wrong?
I think actually, Chris, that's probably a fair assessment. I will say, I come from a vendor, and there is pressure from any presenter's perspective to actually draw in some of your strengths when you're actually illustrating a point, but there are ways and means of doing it. And yeah, the content was a little bit lacking, and Dave is a bright chap and he does know his stuff, but there is pressure on you to do that. And I think it probably was a little bit weak on the content and supporting evidence. And I think that's probably what it was. I don't know how long he had to prepare his presentation. Perhaps that could have been a factor. But I tend to, because I do presentations lots myself, right? And I know that if there's any hint of a sales pitch, people are just going to start tuning out immediately. So sometimes I'll put product screenshots in there and stuff like that, but I'm just illustrating a point. And I'll always say, look, this could be any tool. You can do it with your own tool and stuff like that. So you have to completely steer away to the sales pitch. You can't blame any presenter from a vendor to playing to their strengths, but you have to ensure that the underlying content you got is incredibly strong, and by all means support it with some product evidence or some customer evidence, but you can't really deliver a sales pitch. If it strays too far into that, that's the end of your audience engagement.
I was tuning out a bit, wasn't I, Pat?
Yeah, you were playing on your PSP. Actually, I was watching you doing it. I was incredibly entertained.
Yeah, monks on Final Fantasy V are badass.
Can I just say about that, just a couple of things?